Right now, even while we're all cooped up at home, outside, things that look like they're maybe lifeless or dead have been slowly changing. Little signs of life are popping up here and there. All kinds of often unnoticed workers have been toiling away. Even if we're not paying attention, things are changing this whole time. And even if they don't look like it right now, come summer, maybe some of these things will become something sweet, something full of life, something full of energy. This doesn't mean things are easy or even feel good right now. Sometimes the bad stuff is very real and strong. But last week we mentioned how even if times are scary or troubled, there are people working to keep things going. We mentioned grocery store workers and farm workers. I encourage you to look around your home or neighborhood and find those good things. Find those helpers. And if you didn't see any, think of ways that you could bring about something good. One of our friends from church shared a story about a basketball hoop she had in her backyard. It wasn't being used there anymore, so she moved it out into the front. People in her neighborhood started playing with it. Now the kids on her street have a safe place to play, and she gets to hear them playing. That's a small example of the kind of change that this week's Bible stories are getting at, and why I showed that black and white picture back there. These changes that bring about life aren't an accident, they're work. They're a sign of God's power in the world right now. In this week's reading, we hear a story of a prophet who has a vision of old dry bones coming to life. It's a wild story, but think about the changes that are happening right now. Seemingly dead ground or dried up sticks sprouts as life. It's important to remember that good things can sprout up all around us because God is at work. But we get to work too. In this week's reading from the Gospel of John in chapter 11, we have our church friend story about the basketball hoop, and that black and white picture, this kid here working in the garden. All of that is pointing to an even better story. Life doesn't just happen. Change is not an accident. God is at work, and we're invited to work too. In the gospel story for this week in John chapter 11, Jesus talks about full life, and that's what he wants for us. These pictures here are from the historic march from Selma to Montgomery. It happened in early spring just over 50 years ago. They were ordinary people like you and me. They demanded that they be allowed to have a say in making decisions for their lives, decisions that could make their lives better, decisions that could make their families' lives better, decisions that could make the lives of people that they didn't even know better. Some of their demands were met, but it was hard work and dangerous. That's the kind of life that Jesus is talking about in John chapter 11. It's a full life. It's the life that we're meant for. This week, think about someone who is working for that kind of life. Maybe you're lucky enough to know someone like Martin Luther King Jr. Maybe there's someone in your family who does it. Maybe it's the cashiers and the stock people at your grocery store. Maybe it's you. But tell us about them. Find a way to thank them. Let's not only see the people doing that kind of work. Let's let them know that we see them and appreciate them.